Today we're going to install the Chinese diesel heater, but I must read you this urgent need warning that came with it. When installed, this fixed stomach board must be with the car rice gold. Keep the secret group with the rabbit burning tail gas over the sewing into the driving room to the division of the body created by the injury. So I was a little confused when I read this, so I decided to grab the instructions. And after reading the first 2 lines of the instructions, I decided to casually light that worthless piece of trash on fire. Good thing you got this video, because in today's video, I'm going to show you how to tap into Ford's existing diesel tank, find the elusive nipple that you're going to have to slice the tip off of, and install the auxiliary straw into, and then we'll make sense of all the parts that came with the diesel kit. And we're going to do all of this without any need for rabbits, rice, gold, or stomach boards. The kit comes with a diesel tank, 12-volt wires, the heater, the template, filter, fuel line, fuel pump, intake hose, exhaust, muffler, filter, and all the hardware you need to install it. It comes with a 10-liter diesel tank, but we are going to tap directly into the Ford diesel tank van to see where we can hook it up without hitting any of the frame. Put these wires through so we can see where we're at underneath the van. You can see the blue wire so we can find out where we're at. This is the little bump right here. So that's how we know we have 4 inches or 5 inches this way and about 11 inches this way. And then after looking under there, this little knob right here, we have a good 5 inches this way and a good 11 inches this way. So we'll find a nice spot, get the holes drilled to it. And let me give you a quick little overview of the heater. It's real simple. It just has your exhaust coming out here for your heat. This will be your intake. You have your electrical connections, and then you have your pipes underneath, exhaust right here, which is the furthest away from the diesel intake right there. And this will be your fresh intake right here. And these are just your 4 bolts that actually mount to the body of the Ford van. So you can see we got the holes cut out here. And you want to make sure you get all the holes in this template. You got the 4 bolts right here. This will be your exhaust. This will be your intake. This little one right here is going to be for your fuel line. And then make sure you get this one right here. This is going to be for your power cord. That power cord is basically just going to go down here, and you're going to slide it to the side before you mount your heater. And what this controls is your fuel pump, which is underneath the van. What you want to do is dry fit the heater to make sure it fits in there, and check to make sure you can attach your hoses and everything before you add any sealant or any bolts to hold it together. All right, so now we have our holes drilled out here. We went ahead and sealed it up with the 3M Fireblock sealant. There we go. Now we'll go underneath and put the bolts on. So this is what the heater looks like from underneath. Go ahead and add the split lock washers, and we'll use the bolts that they come with to attach it. This is from underneath. You can see where we have our wire come underneath. That's we're going to connect to our fuel pump. You can see our 4 bolts, our intake, our exhaust, and then you can see our little diesel intake right here that will connect our diesel line to. Got our intake hose on, and then just remember you want to put your hose clamps on the hose first before you slide it on. All right, and this is the muffler that you're going to put on the end of the exhaust. You can see the hole right here. You're going to attach that, and you want this part at the bottom. You can see that little hole, that's a little weep hole. You want to set it up like this, so when the heat comes through and condensation builds up, the water has a place to escape. So we got to put the fuel pump, and you have to put this at a 15 to 30 degree angle. On the fuel pump, you're going to find a spot where it's going to show you the direction of the flow of the fuel. So we're going to attach this here, and what we're going to attach it with is a self-tapping screw. It's got like a little drill bit on the own. It kind of drills its own hole. To make it a little easy, we're going to go ahead and put a little pilot hole, which is a little bit smaller than the actual screw itself. So we'll drill that hole like around here. And this is going to be the filter that you're going to add in between your fuel tank and your diesel pump. And if you look real closely, you can see a little basket in there. It's a little strainer, and the flow that you want it to go in through here, inside that little basket strainer, and then out towards your fuel pump. All right, so you can see we have everything hooked up now. We got our fresh air intake with the filter on the end. We have a strap connected to that. We have our electrical line that's coming down and that runs down and that connects to our pump right here. And you got to make sure you have this at a 15 to 30 degree angle, and it shows you the flow on the pump on which way it needs to go. Up here you can see the fuel line from the diesel. We have that clipped on. And then now we're going to go ahead and connect the diesel auxiliary fuel tube. This is the part number for the diesel for the Ford Transit. Now we got the van up on some ramps, got some jacks. We're going to go ahead and lower the fuel tank, which you can see here. We've driven it down to almost E. To get the bolts off the tank, you're going to use a 1/2 inch socket set. You can actually see the whole fuel tank right here going all the way down. You can see the straps. There's 3 of them. There's one in the back, one in the middle, and one up front. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jack it up to get it close to the tank. We're gonna get a piece of board. We'll put that up here. We went ahead and drove the Ford Transit until there was only 9 miles left until empty. So this plastic tank should be really light. We're using the jack to jack it up, and we have a piece of wood here to hold the tank up while we undo the straps. I would suggest using the impact gun on the driver's side. It's quick and easy. And then on the passenger side, you're gonna have to do it by hand. So we'll go ahead and get the socket set, and we'll go ahead and just a regular socket wrench and get this out. And remember, make sure you keep your bolts marked so you know which hole they're going to go back into. We're going to keep this one on this side so we know where it's going back in. And now you can see the strap. We'll just pull that strap right off right there. One smart idea my brother has, you could actually just, after you remove the strap, put the bolt back in the exact hole that you took it out of, so that way there's no way you're going to mix these bolts up. And this is one of the bolts that came out the back. We might not have to lower the whole tank all the way down. We're going to loosen the front bolts for the front straps, but we're going to actually leave them in since they're so long. You can see the front bolt, we're going to loosen that one, but we're going to leave them in to continue to hold the tank up. And then here you can see that's the hose that actually, where you put the nozzle in, it will come down here and it fills into the tank. Since we don't want to have to take all this out and attach it, we're going to leave these front straps in so we could just lower the back end to be able to access the area we need to get to. So now this is the front strap on the passenger side. We'll go ahead and just loosen this. We're not going to take it all the way down. All right, that's about a good amount to lower it. You can see the bolt's still attached, but we're going to have a little bit of wiggle room to lower it down now. Now we're going to go ahead and take off the middle strap. And we're actually going to take this bolt all the way out. All right, so now we're going to take out the middle strap. All right, and you just got to be careful. Now that we're loosening this one, the tank should come down. And we're not going to be able to remove this strap because it's actually on top of the wood that we're using to support the gas tank. All right, here's the nerve-wracking part of actually lowering the jack and hoping that you don't get shit up completely. All right, so we're gonna come here and we're gonna slowly turn the release to slowly lower this jack. Like I said, it should be light because we've drained out almost all the fuel, so slowly turn that. Oh, there we go. Slowly lower it, slowly lower it. You might want to double check your tubes to make sure nothing's getting pinched, nothing's like getting cracked. I'll lower it a little more. All right, and I'm gonna stop it right there. And I'm gonna tighten it back up. And I'm just gonna see if I can reach my hand up here to access where we need to get to. And then we're gonna use the camera to help us see what is up here. I don't know if it's in the middle or not. So I'm gonna turn the GoPro off and snap some pictures and see what we got. And this is why you want to lower it down the diesel tank slow, because it's got these tubes that are connected on the back end of it. So we don't want to mess any of these tubes up, and nor do we want to disconnect them all. We're basically just going to try to find where the nipple is on top that we need to slice off and tap into. So we'll probably have to get a mirror to look up here to find it. This is the whole tank right here, and that's the back end of it. What we did was we used a jack to jack it up. I have a piece of flat wood here to kind of hold everything stable so it's not just on this little pivot point of the jack. We loosened the front strap on both sides. We took out the strap bolts in the middle, and we took out the strap bolts for the end. We didn't want to disconnect these tubes or mess with it or take it all the way out. So we're basically trying to find where the little nipple is that we need to slice off to attach the auxiliary hose to. So what we did is we got a mirror to help us find it. And basically, if you come here underneath with the mirror, and come in the middle, it's going to be kind of hard to see, but right there with the mirror, you can see right there that we're going to have to slice off and connect to. So I'm going to take this mirror out, and then when I put it back in, now you can see that right there. So we're going to have to cut that and attach our auxiliary tube to that. This is the part number for it, for the Ford Transit diesel tank. And these are the 3 pieces it came with. It came with the clip. Here's a little hose clamp you're going to use to put on top of that. This is the hose. How it works is you got to use one of these fuel line hoses. The only issue that we came up with just now is this fuel line hose and then the hose that comes with the diesel heater are 2 different sizes. This one right here fits a 1/4 inch inside diameter hose, while the diesel fuel line needs a 3/16 inside diameter fuel hose. What we're going to try to do is I'm going to actually try to take the 3/16 one and force it onto here. If I can't get that to go on there, what we're going to have to do is order a 1/4 inch to 3/16 inch hose barb to make them connect. So I'm hoping we don't have to do that. We actually were able to squeeze on the 3/16 inside diameter fuel line on top of the Ford connection piece here. So we used a little bit of soap and a little bit of work, and we finally squeezed that on. And now you can see the 3/16 fuel hose will go right in there, and it fits right in. Now we went ahead and got the hoses connected. You can see we used a hose clamp here, and then we used the clamp that came with the diesel heater. And you can see the part number underneath, make it easier to find. Ford diesel. The gas auxiliary line is a different part number. So this is only for the Ford diesel auxiliary line. We're gonna slide the straw into the tank that came with this kit. And then we're gonna clip this on top, and then we're gonna run our fuel line out to our fuel filter, and then to our pump, and then to our heater. And then when you go to connect this on top, after you connect it, you're literally gonna just take this blue piece and push it in to clip it in. But before you do that, if you look on this side, it's kind of hard to push this in because these little blue tabs right here are hitting the black plastic right here. I know it's hard to see. So what you want to do is you want to lift up these blue plastic tabs, and I can do it with my fingernails, and then push the blue tab in the back. So then that way you can get these blue tabs on top of that black piece right there, and there's an actual better shot of it right there. So that way when you go underneath the tank and you clip this on top, it'll be easy to push this blue piece all the way in to click it and lock it into place. Otherwise, if you don't put these little blue tabs on top of this little black plastic piece right there, you're gonna have a tough time, if not impossible, to try to squeeze that blue clip into place. For the auxiliary fuel line, and you're gonna slide this down inside, and it won't go all the way down. This little piece right here will stop it. After you got that slid down, you're gonna take this and put this on top, and then push that blue part in to lock it in place. So we're gonna go underneath the tank now and install the hose into the fuel tank. Right in the middle of the fuel tank, and you should be able to see it right there. So we're gonna go ahead and just slice the tip off. We're gonna insert our fuel straw, and then we'll put our clip on top, and then that way we'll be able to tap into it without completely dropping the tank. And after we connect it, then we can go ahead and put our straps back on. All right, what we're gonna do now is use the multi-use transfer pump and try to pull the diesel through the fuel line, because I'll hear a lot of comments of people having trouble with the fuel pump pulling it through, and that's a lot of line to go through. So we're gonna use this pump. And what I did was I made a little adapter. So this is a 3/16 inside diameter. This pump came with this tube, and I managed to shove it and stuff it in there, and then it came with this adapter that goes into this. So we'll go ahead and put the 3/16 fuel line in there, and I'm hoping we can use this pump to pull the diesel line down. And once we do and pull the diesel line down, I have a mark on here of where I need to cut it, so then I'll go ahead and cut it and then attach it to the fuel pump. All right, so now we're going to try to use the pump and then pull the diesel from the diesel tank through the line, so that way the heater pump doesn't have to struggle so much. So we'll go ahead and start pumping through it. Is diesel coming out?
I smell it.
Holy shit, it might be working, huh?
Huh? You see the fuel on the line?
It's hard to tell if it's in the line. It looks like some parts look like it has diesel, and then some parts I can't tell.
No, it had diesel in there. That on top there don't have diesel.
Okay, let's keep pumping then. Should I get a, oh! Well, the pump works, diesel's everywhere. So let me go ahead and cut this line and attach it real quick. I'm already a mess anyway. All right, so we got the diesel cleaned up. So now you can see how we ran the diesel line from the tank up over these. Then we came down to our fuel filter, and these clamps came with it. The only thing we had to buy was the 3/16 fuel line hose. Then it comes up to the fuel pump here, and then from the fuel pump it runs right up into the diesel heater. And then you can see this is our fresh air intake right here. It's got the filter on the end. We use a little metal strap to connect it like that. We have our electrical wire coming down, and that turns on our fuel pump here. And then we have our exhaust line coming down, and that runs to our muffler. And we have it set up this way so that the weep hole is at the bottom. So now we'll go ahead and go on top and get it all plugged in. All right, so we got everything hooked up on the bottom, and then you can see here we went ahead and connected it. And this runs up here to our little controller, and then we have the red and black wires, and those ran back to our 12-volt fuse block in the back. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and turn it on, see if this thing works. The reason why it wasn't working is simply because I didn't plug it in. This little connection here, I didn't push it all the way. Now we've pushed it all the way, the display's lit up. So we'll go ahead and turn it on and see if we get any heat. I just turned it off, I think. There you go. I think it turned off because the fuel's not coming through. Hear that ticking? That's the pump underneath trying to pull. Yeah, you can hear the pump ticking, trying to pull
diesel through. And there we can see the diesel coming through the line right now. So we should be getting heat here soon. And you can see it coming down. Should go into the basket. Yep, now it's coming down into the filter. There we go. All right. We have diesel coming down into it, hitting to the filter, and it automatically turns the pump off. So we're gonna have to turn it on one more time, and it should be able to pull diesel through it. It helped that we pulled some of the diesel through, because then it didn't have to pull it all the way through. It was already some in the line. I feel the air coming out. I don't hear the ticking of the pump though. So I'm gonna turn this all the way off again. So that's what I did last time. I turned it all the way off, and then when I turned it on, it automatically kicked to the pump and tried to start pulling diesel through. So when we turn it on again, it's going to be like the third time that we had to turn it on to try to get it to pump through. We'll just give it a second so we don't burn the pump out. All right, so we got the heater working. You can hear it coming out there. And then when you look underneath, you can hear the ticking. And you can see the air bubbles going through the line. So we got the heater working. Show you the inside. You can see the display right here. So 13 volts. We're at 126 degrees Celsius. We turn the hertz down to lower the temperature. But yep, we got everything working. On to the next project.